Ready? Okay. Okay, so I'd like to begin with self-introduction. My name is Daro. I am currently leading the Center for Digital Governance and Technology Promotion here at CADT, IDG. So I'm very excited to be invited as the moderator for this second panel discussion under the topic of using ICT to promote digital governance. Okay, and in this panel discussion, we have 4 panelists. 2 panelists join us here on the stage. We have Mr. Chandy and also Mr. John Wicks. And another 2 panelists join us via Zoom right now. We have His Excellency Mon Pratna and also Mr. Chen Tim. Yes, and let's start with Mr. Chandy. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role here at your organization, INSIT, ILab Southeast Asia? Yes, please.
Yes, first of all, good morning to Excellency, partner, and all the participants who joined both online and offline here. My name is Chandy. I am the product manager at Instead Southeast Asia. So at Instead, we provide tech service. Most of our trending service now is the part of the technical people under the 115 service of the COVID hotline with the Ministry of Health that you has been calling all day. So yeah, so I think that's it for us. Thank you, Wong.
Okay, thank you, Chandy. And then we have another panelist, Mr. John Wicks. Thank you for being here with us today. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your organization and your roles within that organization? Yes, please.
Turning this on. Yes, so just briefly, oh, should I present on this slide, my slides? Oh, I'm here in my role as Open Data Specialist from Internews. So happy to be here, happy to participate, happy to have our discussion.
Okay, thank you. So can we hear from Mr. Chen Tim now? Mr. Chen Tim, can you hear me?
Chen Tim.
Yes, still cannot hear you.
Chairman, and today I will show the digital government and for the MOTC. MOTC is our government, and
MOTC là bao nhiêu? MOTC.
And
tập được quát rồi về nhà em đi xử lý các việc xử lý thì cho bây giờ rất nhiều việc mất thời gian từ việc anh chỉ quát ăn như ăn ấy anh để các bạn tới tập đi cái này
source and our technology and our outcome. So this is the
hello.
Hear me?
Hello.
Okay, this is the case, and we already done for our government. That has a 4 strategy. One is that we need to link in the world, and the second one we need to find the location requirement, and the third one we must collect the data from the cross-domain government. When we build up this kind of the digital government center, hopefully we can deliver the intelligence sharing for other government. And when we build up the data governments, they have the Bible from the Dharma. Dharma is the data management alliance. That has a lot of the guidance to let us how to build up the data governments, like the data architecture, data quality, metadata, and data warehouse, data security, and data store, and how to build up the data model. So in this kind of the case, we reference a lot of the data governance successful case from the government. Some kind of case from Germany, some kind of case from Japan, USA, England, and Singapore. So from their reference, and we can build up a good relationship. So there has a 4 trend to build up the digital governance platform. The first one, we need to integrate all the data from the cost organization and the cost department. The second one, we need to build up the dashboard to contain all the data. And the third one, and we also contain the data in the GS platform. And the fourth one is the trend in the use of the AI technology. I see some of the panel already share this kind of the technology. So for the dashboard, they have the 3 of the items. This is the one for the spatial relationship. And the third one is we need to the streaming data. And the 3 one is the data visualization. So in this of the case, we collect all the data from the open data. And in this platform, we have the 7 basic information module, like the CCTV, like disaster resources, and the GIS, and the public transportation, and the piracy, and the environmental law information. And we also build out the 3 of the analyze module. But in this year, we just have the contain the 7 information module. So we can show all of the data in this kind of the dashboard, like the text, like the image, and like the text plus image. So also have some of the bar chart, you can easy to understand. But just prevent is the dashboard is not enough. We hopefully in this platform is the multi-use. So in this case, we can easy to show that if we have some accident in this area, we can easy to understand in this area, they have the nearby hospital, there's nearby police station, and if we need to understand the real-time streaming, and we can see the CCTV to understand what is the real-time image in this area. So this is very important for us to use this kind of the platform to make some good decision. This is the one case. And the second case is if we have a plan for the long-term vacation transportation, and we can use this platform. And some kind of you can choose one of the platform, and in this case, you just drop and draw, and you can see the highway, CCTV, and you can see the internet news, and you can see the real-time transportation, and you can see the weather, and you also can see the also long-way transportation real-time information. So we can build up this kind of the dashboard, just use drag and draw for the multiple use. And a lot of the people, they can use the dashboard and to customize your data. And you can set as your name, and you can use that for the next time. Thank you for my sharing, and there's some problem, technical problem. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Tim Chen. So how many more minutes you gonna stay with us here, Mr. Tim Chen?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So I think you're gonna leave us soon, right? So I think if someone on Zoom, if you have any questions, please press up your hand and ask 1 or 2 questions to Mr. Tim Chen, because he's gonna leave soon. Okay, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. If not, I'd like to start with one simple question out of curiosity here. So it seems like in your country, the government has working hard to make sure that they use open data to help and solve some governmental issue or public transportation issues. So in terms of the technologies that the government use, can you tell us a little bit about those technologies? Are they use open source technologies or they build it their own or what in terms of the technologies? Did you get my question, Mr. Chimpton?
Sorry, I can hear
Oh,
you.
they cannot hear me. Yeah, so they cannot hear me. Okay, so maybe I yeah.
voice.
Okay, it's okay. So I can hear too. Yeah, sorry. Hello? Okay, so while we are here, have participants here at CADT, why don't you share us a little bit about your perspective on the technologies presented by Mr. Timchen? What do you think about the data they use in the country? You have any ideas, Chandi and John Wicks?
It's very encouraging. I know that I think Cambodia is a long way away from doing something like this. It requires a lot of ministerial organizational communication, and I think that's something Cambodia aspires to. So kind of fascinating to see, and I hope that there can be more dialogue within the region about efforts like this. Cambodia wants to innovate, but we'll have a ways to go before we can do something like what we've just seen.
Yeah, okay, thank you. About Chandi?
Yeah, well, I think what Doctor has shown is very insightful, and we see as it very integrated together as what we have been trying to do right now. From like even in the government that we see they trying to go digitalize of the whole operation. So I think that is the future that's coming for us. We just need to actually making sure everything is functional, and then when it comes to fully integrated, I think this is how we can very easy for all the citizens that spend less time, spend less money, and so on. Blah, blah. The benefit go on when we go digital. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So, Mr. Chimpton, can you hear me now? Okay, so my question was actually, I just want to know about the technologies that used to gather all of those data. Can you share us a little bit? Are they open source or they build it from scratch? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And there has two kind of the challenge. And one is that we need to collect all the data from we collect the data from the open data. This is the first one. But we also need to, for our platform purpose, we need to have an investment to other governments to need a requirement for the digital governments. So this is the second one. We need to collect the data from their internal system. So we also, the first one, we also collect the data from the open data. The second one, we collect the data from their API system. And because if they already have the future system, and we can link the system into our platform. So this is the three way we can collect the data into our system. And the other one, we develop the platform. We use the open source. So all the technology we can easily find from the internet.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Timchen.
Yeah.
So I think do we have any more questions from our participants on Zoom here? If you have questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question directly to Mr. Jim because he's gonna leave us soon.
Yes.
Okay. So I think we got no more questions, Mr. Tim James. Thank you for your time, for being here with us via Zoom. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you.
Okay. So next, I'd like to invite His Excellency Mun Pratna, the Deputy Secretary General of Ministry of Economy and Finance. Please, His Excellency, you may introduce yourself again and tell us a little bit about your responsibility and your roles here at the Ministry of Economy and Finance, and especially on the project of financial management information system that you are currently doing. Please, His Excellency.
Thank you. I just want to make sure you can hear me now, right?
Yes, I can hear you very good.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank you for the invitation from the Open Data, and particularly this really important. I think today is a really important day because it's the Open Data Day, and the Open Data organization is trying to make sure that all the citizens in Cambodia, they know about the information about the open data, particularly for the data that shared by the government. And this is really important because when the citizens, they know, they understand about the information that's shared by the government, then they will understand their value as a citizen, as a taxpayers. That's really important. And I would like to emphasize that even though if we have a very good leader, but if our citizen doesn't understand the values, then I think they will lead to nowhere. The country will move to nowhere. So the most important is the citizen. They need to know, they need to understand their value as a citizen. Thank you. And I would like to introduce quickly on my projects. Mostly we call the Financial Management Information System, in short, FMIS, and it's literally called FMIS. This project has been started since the year 2014. And right now we are at the phase 3 of the implementations. The goal of this project is to make sure that FMS will become the centralized financial management information system for the financial management as well as the budget institutions in Cambodia before the year 2025. Why financial management is very important? Because first of all, the money is really important, especially the monies that we get from our people, our citizens. And the allocation, the spending of those money is really critical. If the government, they spend this money without transparency, without effectiveness, without accountability, which is the components of the good governance, then the people will not receive any good benefits, and particularly their public delivery from the government will be not as well as good. But now the Ministry of Economy and Finance is trying to make sure that we use the digitalizations to drive the way to improve the public service delivery in Cambodia. That's the key message that I would like to share with you. And one more thing that I would like to let you know that currently the Ministry of Economy and Finance is working with other line industry to make sure that we can integrate the information together. Particularly like just mentioned by Excellency Niang Maut previously, that we would like to build the government digital platform where everyone as the government agency can link their information, share the information, and the principle of 1 and 3 is really important. And right now we are doing it. And I would like to draw your attention like this. While Mr. Tim just shared at the moment, and we got the comment from Mr. John Wick. Actually, for the financial side, we are following with the using the technologies, and we are improving it right now. You can see the dashboard of the spending by the economies, by the accounting, by geography, by projects, by program particularly, because right now we are implementing what we call program budgeting. And in the futures, we will have what we call performance budgeting. Actually, it's informative performance budgeting, where all the citizens will understand what each line is doing right now. Are they creating the public service that the citizen want or not? And this will be really happen by the year 2025 or after that. And that's what we are doing right now. I can give you a quick comment on that. Thank you. I'm waiting to hear some more questions from our participants. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, His Excellency Pratana, for sharing your experience on the project of financial management information system, and also your view on the Mr. Tim sharing his presentation on using data to control transportation in his country. Okay, please stay with us, His Excellency. We're gonna come back to the Q&A session in a moment, but why don't we move to our panelists here at CADT. I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Chandi to talk about his role and also maybe share about what he's gonna do in his slides. Yes.
Okay, so just our technical, could I have the slide from?
Yeah, please put Mr. Chandi slides on screen.
Slide. Okay, so you might not familiar with the term here, but before I go into detail, I just have one question to ask our audience here. Like, how many people have been to the commune office to get any service or anything? Okay, so how many people have been to the health center, which is the public service as well? Okay, and the primary school, I guess it's all of them has been okay. So this is what I'm talking about. Is about the like when the citizen or when you as the Cambodian go to access the public service, not unless there will be bad or there will be good experience from the service. Any service in the world, there's always like that. So what I'm showing you here today is how we capture those experience and also showing them to the government, obviously, about the demand or their actual experience from the citizen that get get from those services. So it could be good, it could be not so good. But this is what this tool is doing, is capturing those experiences. Okay, so I just go very quickly. So what is we call the blended digital community scorecard? Before you can understand that, I just have a quick explanation of scorecard. What is the scorecard mean? So scorecard is like a discussion among the target group in the commune office or in the commune area to experience any service, some of the public service that they have been accessed, that we targeting in three like primary school, health center, and commune office. So basically they do offline, they do in paper based, and then they re-entry the data afterward, and then their demand or the citizen request has been go up to some Excel file and so on. But what is the difference between this blended method or the digital way of collecting citizen demand or response? So this is how we do it. So basically we do the same method as the offline, but we blend the digital technology in. So what does it help? It means that they're still paper-based, but at the same time, after they done the meeting, they can get the demand and data up to the cloud right after they finish the scorecard. How is the difference? Because for the last practice, normally it took around 2 to 3 months just to people to re-entry the data back, and then we can get the data to analyze or for the nationwide decision. But for this, we have experience in just a week. In a week, people can finalize the data and submit to the cloud. So that is the main point. That can you imagine how fast our government can see the demand of the citizen and how fast they can respond back. So that is how the tool that we embedded in the actual practice that we have. And yes, and that is what we've been doing now. And it's not just concept, it's something that has been going on right now. For instance, like we has been rolling out this scorecard to with care, and also we work with the 10 local NGO in the target 5 province that they are doing that right now. And citizen demand is uploading every time they do. And for your information, that the demand, if we do it is anonymously, which means we don't capture their name or identity at all. We just capture demand and their profile. That's all. And also along the way that we've been doing, there are also some interest from partner that pilot this project as well with us. We have World Vision, we have FTI and ISAC program with the Star Cambodia organization. We have USAID under the One Window for Citizens projects. So it means that the idea is been pilot from us at the beginning, but now it's been. I'm sorry, Mom. Okay. It's just been piloting more to more people, to more partner. Hello. And so how do we monitor the progress? So normally, when the demand is captured, there will be nothing if we don't show it, right? If we cannot see those demands. So we also have ongoing development of the profile, not the profile, but the actual demand from the citizen, that ranking the most demand, the most, like what are the issues that they have been facing the most. We can filter by their profile, like gender, or their minority groups, or their HAP ID pool, or also their target area. Like we can see the people in the Battambang city, what are the most popular or the most demand that they have been requesting based on the source of data that we do in the scorecard method. And we can see it in real time. As long as the community submit it, finalize it, we can see it in real time. So I think we have some challenge as well. We now, as you can see, we've been rolling out this to more people to use, especially the demand side people for like organization and so on. And we envision this to make us any scorecard in Cambodia, we have envisioned to have it as a standardized tool. Where every scorecard uses that tool. Every scorecard, and also the big goal is we try to scale this for the nationwide as well. So then we can imagine like all across the country, all across the program running will be under the same plot of data, where we can like just one time and get all and everything. So I think that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chandi, for sharing your work project with us here. I think it's very important that you can link the experiences of people living in rural areas for the government to see. Yeah, sometimes this is a gap. There is a gap here. So we come back to you later for question and answer, Mr. Chandi. So next we have Mr. John Wicks. Would you like to start? Do you have slides or?
I do.
I do. Okay.
It'll be the shortest presentation.
Okay.
Want to allow some time for questions and discussion because it's already late in the morning. Thanks. Okay, so the work Internews is doing with supporting digital governance is both a little bit on supply side and also demand side. We're trying to enhance the ability of presentation of data, sharing of data, and training people to better understand data and how to use it. So some of the work we're doing is to strengthen ODC. We first started our work for the Innovations and Social Accountability Project here in Cambodia, an outgrowth of the ISAF framework, by doing an assessment of who uses the ODC website and who uses data in Cambodia. We went further on that front, and we developed launched last year, an open data survey which we have some hard copies of here. So you can get that at the check-in desk over there. What we found is that there are producers of data, there are users of data, but much of the data is poorly organized, or many people view their translation of data into information as proprietary. So there is an open data ecosystem in Cambodia, but it's very young, and it doesn't have a lot of cultivation. So we have a long way to go before it resembles the open data ecosystem in, say, Taiwan or other countries like India, where there's. So I think Cambodia. I'm really happy to see that we're discussing with people from the region, so that we can compare notes and look at ways to grow and strengthen it. Much of the data comes from government institutions, research institutions, and the analysis of it is not standardized. So often it's located in silos. So there's a lot of work to be done to get it up to international standards. There's great enthusiasm, which is lovely to see. Great enthusiasm. People are aware that digital tools aren't going away and provide a lot of opportunities, but getting it up to the cultural standards of like clear formats, clear sharing, understanding what open data means, understanding the principles behind it, that needs some work. So that's why we're happy to work with ODC. So the role of Internews globally is to strengthen information environments. So we're happy to participate in this work. So after the Open Data Survey, we did a design workshop with ODC to develop a format to bring their data sharing to the next level. We developed a social accountability page at this workshop, and we aim to have clear articles, infographics, data tables that are much easier to use, and a stronger mapping approach. So moving forward, if ODC is working on any detailed data sets, working to use on the social accountability budgeting data,
តកតងទៅនឹងកញ្ចប់ថវិកាឬក៏ទិន្នន័យផ្នែកកញ្ចប់ថវិកាអីមួយចំនួននោះយើងបច្ចុប្បន្ននេះគឺផ្ដោតសំខាន់ទៅលើទិន្នន័យដែលនិយាយពីកញ្ចប់ថវិកាហើយយើងឃើញថាដោយនៅ CNDC គេហៅទៅ CNDC យើងចង់បាននៅការចំណាយឬក៏ទិន្នន័យតកតងនឹងការចំណាយជាដើមចំណុចទាំងអស់នេះគឺជាការពង្រឹងបន្ថែមទៅលើកម្មវិធីបណ្ដុះបណ្ដាលឬក៏ផ្នែកមួយចំនួនផ្សេងទៀតដែលនិយាយអំពីមាត្រដ្ឋានទូទៅថាតើយើងធ្វើការបកស្រាយវាដោយរបៀបណានៅពេលដែលយើងធ្វើការងារទៅលើចំណុចនេះគឺជាផ្នែកមួយដែលយើងចង់ឲ្យប្រជាជនឬក៏សាធារណជនរបស់យើងអាចដឹងជាពិសេសនិស្សិតនៅសាកលវិទ្យាល័យនឹងទទួលបាននៅសេវាកម្មផ្សេងដែលនឹងព័ត៌មានសំខាន់មួយចំនួនងាយស្រួលក្នុងការនិយាយបំផុតអំពីរបៀបធ្វើប៉ុន្តែយើងមានផ្នែកមួយចំនួនដែលនិយាយអំពី open data នេះហើយយើងឃើញថាចំណុចទាំងអស់នេះគឺมันគ្រាន់តែជាការលើកឡើងក៏ដូចជាការចាត់វិធានការមួយចំនួនតាក់ទងទៅនឹងការបកស្រាយពីទិន្នន័យនេះទេក៏ប៉ុន្តែវាជាផ្នែកមួយចំនួនពាក់ព័ន្ធទៅនឹងរដ្ឋាភិបាលក្នុងស្រុកយើងផងដែរចំណុចមួយផ្សេងទៀតដែលយើងនិយាយអំពី ការរៀបចំប្រព័ន្ធរៀបចំសាខាសាលាផ្នែកទិន្នន័យជាដើមមានន័យថាវាស្ថិតនៅក្នុងតំបន់របស់យើងដើម្បីជួយនៅតាមរយៈការប្រើប្រាស់ប្រព័ន្ធទិន្នន័យពីសាលារៀនឬពីក្នុងតំបន់របស់យើងមានន័យថានៅក្នុងប្រព័ន្ធ digital របស់យើងឬក៏ផ្នែកដែលសំខាន់នោះគឺយើងអាចបណ្ដុះបណ្ដាលឬក៏ផ្ដល់នៅការបណ្ដុះបណ្ដាលបន្ថែមទៀតនិងឋានៈឬក៏ការបណ្ដុះបណ្ដាលផ្សេងទៀតជូនទៅដល់អ្នកពាក់ព័ន្ធរបស់យើងហើយពួកគេអាចនឹងយល់ដឹងបន្ថែមអំពីការងាររបស់ពួកគេពាក់ព័ន្ធទៅនឹងរបាយការណ៍ឬក៏ការបណ្ដុះបណ្ដាលដល់សមាជិកភាពរបស់យើងជាដើមហើយនៅក្នុងចំណុចទាំងអស់នេះថាតើពួកគេអាចនឹងដឹងបន្ថែមអំពីប្រព័ន្ធ Open Data ផងដែរខ្ញុំចង់ទុកពេលជូនអ្នកចូលរួមរបស់យើងបើសិនជាមានសំណួរឬក៏អនុសាសន៍បន្ថែមគឺសូមជូនវេទិកាទៅអ្នកចូលរួមរបស់យើងអរគុណណាស់លោកជួយតែបានចូលរួមពាក់ព័ន្ធទៅនឹងការប្រមូលទិន្នន័យរបស់ OTC ដូច្នេះខ្ញុំគិតថាឥឡូវនេះគឺយើងចូលរួមដល់ទៅការដល់ពេលដែលយើងត្រូវការសួរសំណួរនិងឆ្លើយសំណួររបស់យើងហើយបើសិនជាលោកស្រីដែលចូលរួមតាមប្រព័ន្ធអនឡាញនោះគឺអាចសួរសំណួរនិងសំណួរមួយចំនួនដល់ក្រុមការងាររបស់យើងឬក៏
So okay, so let's go back to His Excellency Moon Pratna because we got a few questions in the chat right now, I think, and His Excellency already answered some of the questions. So why don't we discuss about your answers and those questions a little bit, His Excellency Pratna, because one of them asked whether the financial management information system will be available for public sector or not, and your answer is no. And why do you think it cannot be used for the private sector or what? His Excellency, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I would like to clarify that FMS here, that's what we have designed here, is just used for the government. It's not available for the private sectors. Okay. And for the other questions that I have not answered in the chat yet is like, actually FMS is meant to be for the government operations in the financial management and budget planning and executions. But for the data that we have shared at the moment, it has been extracted from the system itself, from the FMS. FMS is one of the main information source on the public's public financial management, as well as the budget executions and planning. That's what I can answer to you right now.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, His Excellency. So another question, maybe you want to share us about the challenges that your team have met when building out this system, and whether those challenges have been resolved. Can you share us some thoughts about that?
Thank you. Actually, the challenge that we are facing right now is that because we are so much involved in the public expenditure, right? So the financial transaction is very critical for the projects, and we are trying to improve and speed up the process in budget execution, the financial transaction for the public. For example, like paying for the supplier to build a road, to build a bridge, to build schools, things like that. We need to improve that. And that has been very long in terms of the reform itself. As you may know that before, to pay for the supplier would take a long time to pay, but now it has been improved gradually. But there's a lot of room to be improved because the government now is implementing the system. And unfortunately, because of the system is using in parallel with the manual system, therefore the improvement right now is not seen as significant. But there's a process that we have been we have been streamlined, which means that we have transferred directly into the system to transact directly in the system, fully digital for some transaction. But before the year 2025, every transaction will be streamlined, which means that all the transactions will be used in the system, no more manual process. I'm trying to say here is that the challenge here, because of we are using the manual, and why we're using the manual operation in parallel with the system, is because of the trust of the users. That's the most important. As you may know, and also have been explained by Excellency Liang Mao, that we have a big problem at the NIDA projects, where the government official, they scare. They feeling difficult to trust the IT system. But right now, I am saying that they start being trustful in the system. That's why the transition from the manual to the digitalization, purely digitalization of the system are being made right now. And we can see the progress. The second challenge is the law and regulation. That's really important. And the infrastructure, for example, like the connectivities, the absence of the digital signatures. As you may know, that the digital signature Anukrat has been released in the late 2017, but there's no progress at the moment. And I hope with the framework of the government digital 22 certified, that will become the key components that the government can speed up to make sure that we can transact through the digital system without any trouble. The third one is the capacity, the human resource. That's really important, because so far we need a lot of young developers, database administrator, data center management, but this skill is absent in the marketplace. And if you need to find a good one, you need to pay them a lot. That is our challenge, because the government salary is not as high as the private sectors. And therefore, I think the skill there needs to be expanded. And also, we would welcome all the students, the fresh grade, to apply and participate with our projects to make sure that we can together build a better Cambodia. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, His Excellency, for your answers, the insightful comment on that. And please stay with us. I'd like to move to our panelist here, Mr. Chandi, about your project scorecard, right? So I'm just curious about the kind of experiences that you collect and share for the people who use your scoreboard, and what are the reactions from those people who see those experiences?
Okay, so good question, Bong. So far, the work we've done is we've been working on making people use the system, but until now, the response back is under each of the organization management. For sending that to public, it will be a lot of more discussion in terms of how we can do that, in terms of data privacy perspective. But those could be done, and we also work closely. We have a very regular update meeting with NCDD, which is the partner from the government as well, and we have other partners that work in this area. But the goal in here is that we try to building the gap of the citizen demand, and make that voice heard as fast as possible to the government. And I think that is the foundation of how you can address problem, right? The faster you can hear, the faster that you can act, the faster that you can plan and set the budget to address those problems. And that is the main target goal. But now we are focusing on scaling those to most of the big partners, like you can see on the slide, to make sure that in the demand side, we all under the same platform. And that is when the data in one place. And that is when the million of voice of the citizen come in just one place. And that is how big and how accurate and how in demand those experience or like citizen voice is in the whole nationwide country. Yep.
Okay, thank you for that. Mr. John Wicks, in your presentation, you already shared with us the challenges that you face for collecting data. One of those challenges is making people have access and how to use the data, right? So in terms of the solution to those challenges, have you ever thought about the solution, how you're going to deal with those challenges?
I cannot say there's one solution. There may be many solutions. I think all of us working in this area have enthusiasm to share our products. Some of it may even be marketing, but I do think that education is a big part of this. Microphone go. Education is a big part of this, including training, both formal and informal, opportunities in programs as they're developed, in outreach activities, and overall strengthening the open data ecosystem. There's supply side. Supply side is growing quickly. I'm not sure the demand side is growing as fast with regards to open data. So if we have a wonderful product, but nobody uses it, we may be making some mistakes. So I'm not sure I have a solution beyond education as a general aspiration, but I'm welcoming ideas, of course. It's something we're all thinking about.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Mr. John Wicks. So I think we almost running out of time, but I still have one more question for all the panelists to share with us, because our topic here is using ICT. So maybe we go back to His Excellency Mon Pratna. Maybe if you can share with us the kind of technologies that used to build those financial management information system, and is there any challenges in using those technologies? His Excellency, please.
Thank you, Brother Daro. Of our technology to build FMSC is the cut of the shell, where we get it from Oracle, and this is an Oracle product. And as you may know, that Oracle product here is, the capacity in having this kind of cuts implemented locally is really difficult. We need to, so far, if you want to have I'm sorry, I need to to tell you that we are using a PeopleSoft Financials package to reconfigure and develop our financial management information system. And this skill is limited. It's so difficult to find in Cambodia. And so far we got the support from our development partner. We managed to get some of the experts from abroad, from overseas. And what we do right now is to recruit the young fresh grade and train them, make sure that they understand, they know how to develop further. Phase 3 has been a good progress, because most of the time we do the configuration of the system by ourselves. We develop, because you may know that there's a new draft financial system law at the moment, and that needs a lot of effort from the system side, our system side, to make sure that we can adopt to what has been changed by the laws. That's the most important. Another thing is that we have developed so many applications in-house. For example, like non-tax collections system that has been developed by our team. We're using the open source, both database and programming at the moment, and so many other apps that has been used. For example, like now we have developed what we call FMS portal version 1, which we want to implement through the commune and district. And as you may know, there's thousands of communes and hundreds of districts in Cambodia, right? So if you roll out this code, we need a lot of infrastructure, we need a lot of end user equipment like computers, things like that. Therefore, we need to develop this portal to make sure that the commune, they don't need to come to submit their request document for payment from the provincial treasury. So with this app, they can just use it to exchange information, and they don't need to come to the treasury again. And they can keep all the documents at their side. And this is another progress that we are going to launch it before the commune and Sankat elections in this year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, His Excellency, for your answers. So what about Chandi? Can you share us about the technologies that your team have been using? If you know any technologies that your team have been using to build this kind of scorecard web service or application? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can just share a little bit about, so since we are the tech firm, actually, we are the one who provide software development or web application. But I think the one thing that we've been using as a principle is we use human-centered design. Basically, user is the center, and then we design the tool based on that. So for example, like you see in the product that we just mentioned about the blended digitized method, which means why we don't just go do an app? Because it's not going to work. Because the actual facilitation of that app need those key stakeholders to actually make it run. That's why we do it in a blended method. So the app only need when it collects the data. And it's done. When the data collected and it's submit, the app is done. So that is how we design something to make it work in the current situation, like in the scorecard, for instance. So yeah, I think try to focus on the user, how they interact, who are the actual primary user of that tool or products, and try to make sure that they are accessible for that. I think that is when the thing can be useful. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chandi. So let's go to Mr. John Wicks. Can you share us about the technologies that your team use to collect data, analyze data, and put it on ODC website? The technology, if you can share us with.
Sorry,
the technologies that you use to extract data, collect data, and share them on the site.
Some of it is scraping data. Some data is given to the ODC team. So often it can be scraped manually and then organized. We're actually doing a bit of work with a data scraping workshop that we're actually shaping up for either late this month or early next month. Or sorry, later next month, because there's Khmer New Year. But one thing that really excites the team is the possibility of automated scripts for data scraping, and the idea of mirroring existing data sets on websites, which is actually kind of, in my view, aspiring towards linked open data, which is where sites talk to each other, which is a big ask. So I guess the short answer for you would be Python scripts, simple scripts to apprehend what's there on websites. In the future, I'm hoping that, there will be more standardization in government data outputs. There will be kind of cross-ministry coordination. So right now, we're kind of doing the quick and dirty approach, which is use scripts, do manual scraping to accomplish getting these crucial data sets that have great relevance for people at the grassroots level.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for your answer. So I think we are running out of time, so I would like to end the second panel by giving each panelist 1 minute to have a closing remark for what you would like to say before going. I'd like to start with Mr. John Rich first.
Let's see. Well, I'll just highlight two things. One is we have an open data survey that is on the ODC website. You can download it, but we've got hard copies here because it's a lot more fun to just read something in your hands than stare at a screen all day, especially after many people have been stuck inside for the last 2 years. The other thing is I would encourage people to don't hesitate to take a look at the new social accountability page on the ODC website. Most people aren't bored and say, "I'm bored. I will take a look at this page full of data." But we're quite proud of the result, and we have some strong visuals. We've been working hard on things like infographics to make this more attractive. So I just would say social accountability page, ODC website. Please have a look, see if it works for you. We're welcoming your feedback.
Thank you, Mr. Chandi. Any closing remarks here?
Yeah, I think I don't have anything long. I just thank all the organizer team who has been make this happen, and also the yeah. I think if you want to know more, feel free to visit us or talk to me, and visit Instead website or Facebook page. And I think from the tech side is, yeah, let's just keep it simple. Think about the user first, and the technology later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, His Excellency, for your closing remark, please.
Thank you very much. I don't have much to say, but just want to remind you that if you want to become a citizen of a well-developed country, you need to improve yourself by achieving and knowing a lot of the information, and particularly the information that related to your personal living. For example, like I mean like tax, the public finance, that those are the things that you need to understand, you need to know. And this is the most important, because if you absent, you ignore this, then you don't know where the government is leading you, and you need to trust the government. That is the most important. By trusting the government, you need to find more information. What is the government is doing right now? And you can see in every website, every app that the government has been made by the industries, you need to find it out. And I hope that in the future, because that's what we are doing right now, that we will have an integrated portal for the citizens, that they can access to that portal, just that portal. They can find way how to pay the tax. They can find way how to register their son or children's birth certificate, thing like that. In just one portal. They can register their business, for example, if they want to, in that portal as well. And that's will be happen after 2025, I'm surely, because now we are trying to build this one. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for your insightful remark. So I'd like to end this panel discussion, and for me as your moderator, thank you, and thank you ODC for organizing this event with partnership with my institute, IDG, Institute of Digital Governance. Here we provide training for these government officials in terms of professional skills and also digital essential skills as well. In addition to that, we also provide software solutions and provide consulting services for government institutions if they want to build and digitalize their public services. So thank you very much. I would like to give the floor back to the MC. Yeah.